Boyfriend staged a cruel cheating prank on my birthday despite knowing my trauma, leaving me questioning our entire relationship and future. I, 27 male, met my, probably soon to be ex, boyfriend Alex, 29 male, 2 years ago through a mutual friend of ours. I never expected he'd be interested in me because, when I first met him, he had only been with women. He came out as bisexual to me and our friends not too long after that, and that same night, he hinted that he was into me. We got to know each other more and it eventually turned into the two of us dating. He's genuinely a sweet and awesome guy, quite introverted but has a big heart and a real geek about the things he likes. I thought he'd be the one I would be marrying and all that, but I'm thinking that's not going to happen anymore. Last Monday was my birthday, and I went home early from work so that Alex and I can go out and enjoy ourselves. I told him earlier that day that I would go home early. When I opened the door, I was greeted by him laying on our couch, while a woman I didn't know was on top of him. They were fully clothed BTW. I was basically paralyzed and couldn't react at all. He eventually saw me and had a surprised look on his face, but he also looked like he was trying to hold his laugh in. The woman also looked like she was about to laugh as well. I also started to hear chatter from the kitchen and in our bedroom. Alex then shouted, "You guys can come out." And so our friends came out of our bedroom and kitchen, holding gifts, party poppers, and a cake. I guess them shouting it's a prank. Happy birthday. While turning the party poppers on snapped me back to reality because after they said that, I just quietly turned around and left. I didn't see their reactions when I did that, but I could hear them saying "oh shit" and "wait." And some other things I can't remember. When I heard them try to follow me, I hastened my pace until I reached my car and drove away. While driving, my phone started to get bombarded by texts, calls, and messages from my boyfriend and our friends. When it got too distracting, I just turned off my phone and went to a hotel that's far enough from my place. By the time I got to my hotel room, I just started sobbing on the floor. I think I blacked out from crying because when I woke up, it was already sunny outside. I made sure to tell my team leader first that I would be absent for a few days due to an emergency, and she was kind enough to accept my request. She probably noticed something was off with me because I was sniffling and my voice sounded weak. Right now, I plan on telling my aunt who lives near my area about what happened and asking if I could live with her for a couple of days until I sort out my mind and know what I have to do next. I'm deeply heartbroken because I've told my BF and my friends before how I felt about cheating and how it essentially ruined my family growing up in my young mind back then. My mom cheated on my dad and it broke our family, and I got cheated on by my first boyfriend, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like I overreacted and that I should have just went with it all. I still don't plan on opening my phone, so I'm using my laptop right now to type this. I don't know how to face and respond to them all after all that has happened. Maybe some time away from them will help, I hope. Update 1. You folks really made me feel happy even after all that has happened. I never thought internet strangers could be so kind, lol. Normally, I confide with my friends whenever I had a problem, but since they somehow became part of that problem, I thought maybe going here would be a good idea, and I guess it was. Truly, thank you to all of you. Although, even if almost all of you had nothing but great advice and nice things to say, there were some who were skeptical or were even harsh, specifically in the way I just ghosted my boyfriend and everyone at that surprise party. Truth be told, I could have done something more mature as some would say, but really, in that moment, all I could think was remove myself from that situation because I wouldn't know what I would do if I fell back to my old self. Also, sorry for any typos, I wrote this all on my phone. For context, I found out my mom was cheating on my dad at 14 years old. I got home from school early and found that the house was empty. I went upstairs to go to my room, but as I got nearer to my parents' room, I heard these faint sounds of sex, and it didn't help that the door to the room was slightly opened. Curiosity got the best of me and I decided to take a peek inside, and there she was, my own mom cheating on my dad with his coworker. I felt like I was going to be sick, like it was some sort of nightmare. I froze there for a few seconds before my dad's coworker noticed me and immediately alerted my mom that I was watching them. When my mom finally realized what happened, she started calling me out and tried to follow me, but I got to run to my room and locked it before she could catch me. My mom was frantically calling out my name and knocking hard on the door, but all I could do was cry. The realization that the person I was calling my mom wasn't the person I thought she was hit me like a ton of bricks because I used to adore my mom. She was always around while my dad was working full-time, which made me resent my dad because he was never around. I remember hiding in my bedsheets and eventually falling asleep. I was woken up by my dad knocking on my door and calling me to come out. I had to comply, of course, and when I opened my door, my father was standing in front of me, with my mom behind him. He gave me a tight hug and asked me about the guys who bullied me while I was walking home from school, and I was confused when he mentioned that, but then I saw my mom looking mad at me and basically telling me through her face that I should go along with it. As much as I hated it, I went along with it because I didn't want to hurt my dad. Since then, I've decided to fully ignore my mom unless it was for a chore or something important, and when I moved out at 18, I made sure to go NC on her and only talk to her when my dad wanted me to. My mom and dad eventually divorced after I moved out. Turns out, he always knew but didn't want to do anything about it until I moved out because he didn't want me to live in a household riddled with arguments and stress brought upon by divorcing couples. It didn't really work, but I appreciate my dad for still looking out after me even if he was hurting. Then, when I was 19, I got into my first ever relationship. We had a pretty nice start and we were each other's firsts. But, when I found out he was cheating on me, things got really ugly. I know this is not an excuse, but I was young and didn't know how to handle that information when I got it, and knowing how much I hated cheating, I basically went crazy on him and turned to destroying his stuff, deleting all copies of his thesis, and even went as far as doing this insane Facebook rant where I exposed his cheating and posted pics of him and the guy he was cheating me with, and even mentioned his mom and dad in the post and outing him without his consent. I deleted the post just 2 days after, but the damage has already been done and my ex ended up moving away and living in another area because of my post. Obviously, I am thoroughly embarrassed and ashamed of what I've done, and I still regret doing all of that. When my aunt found out about what I did, she gave me a pretty stern scolding and insisted that I had to get checked by a psychiatrist because what I did isn't normal, and it's not, and I got diagnosed with severe depression and the doctor also said I had some unresolved trauma, which confused my aunt, but after telling her what happened 6 years ago, she fully understood why and gave me a tight hug and cried after spilling everything to her. She felt bad because she wasn't able to do anything to help me before and now is extremely mad at her sister, my mom, for doing all of that to me. Ever since then, my aunt has helped me get the therapy and meds that I needed, and essentially turned into my mother figure. My ex and I don't talk much these days, but we have made amends and are on good terms now. Now that all of this stuff from my past has been finally laid out, for those wondering why I did what I did, here's the actual update. After I submitted my original post, I packed my things that night and prepared to go to my aunt's house, which wasn't that far but still a bit of a drive nonetheless. When I finally got there, she was incredibly welcoming and I thanked her for allowing me to stay in her house even just for a while. She gave me a tight hug and told me I was always welcome and that she will be there to help me when I need her too. She eventually led me to the spare bedroom that they have in their house and helped me unpack my stuff. She is honestly such an incredible woman and I love her so much. She's basically the mom I've always wanted. Once I was done unpacking, I was again confronted by the fact that I haven't opened my phone for quite some time now. I've avoided it for so long that I didn't think I could open it again, but I knew I had to. The moment my phone booted up, hundreds upon hundreds of texts, chats, and missed calls popped up on my screen. Even if I was still hesitant, I decided to open my chats and looked at our friend group's group chat first. The chats from the start were all very frantic in nature, with my friends asking about where I was or what happened. But after scrolling down a few more times, the chats turned into them apologizing that the prank happened and that it was not on the plan at all. One of my friends even blamed the girl that was on top of Alex, my BF, and thought she was untrustworthy. Finally, the chats ended up being them hoping they could contact me and wishing I was safe. I guess they knew I just read their chats because as soon as I was done back reading, my friends immediately knew I was online and asked how I was doing, and where I was. They also started apologizing again for not being able to stop the prank from happening and that they didn't know that was going to happen and thought the original prank was going to be something else. At this point, I was thoroughly confused because they seemed happy enough to be there during that night, but I knew I had to apologize to them first for ghosting them and asking their side of the story first before speaking about what had happened. Essentially, they were simply planning a surprise birthday party for me with Alex in a group chat that didn't include me. Then, my BF added a few more people into the group chat, saying that they were college friends of his and he wanted them to be a part of the surprise party too since they also wanted to meet and get to know me better. As a suggestion, one of my boyfriend's college friends pitched the idea of them pranking me. The plan was my BF is going to be on the couch with a serial killer holding a bloody knife and fake stabbing my BF while the killer was on top of him and while my BF is bleeding everywhere. My BF's college friends thought it would be funny to see my reaction, although my friends were initially skeptical. They reassured them that it would be harmless fun and that once my BF and the friend who'll be acting as the killer got their desired reaction on camera, they can just tell me that it was all a prank and my friends and my BF's other college friends would come out and surprise me with their gifts and stuff. My friends eventually agreed so as long as they don't drag out the prank and immediately reveal everything once they captured my reaction on camera. The day of my birthday comes and everything they've planned seems to be going smoothly, with them waiting for me. My BF's college friends ushered everyone to hide while they set up the prank, and when it was done, they would hide, too. When they finally heard my BF say they can come out, they thought the prank was a success because I looked absolutely mortified, but they knew something was up when even after the prank was revealed, I was still looking shocked and almost teary-eyed even, until I finally turned around and left. They were understandably shook and confused, thinking the serial killer prank was too much, but knowing me, I wouldn't have minded it at all since I love scary movies and an avid horror enjoyer. That was then they realized that my BF's female college friend was on top of my BF, not wearing any serial killer costume and not holding any fake bloody knife. They then saw my BF pushing his female college friend away from him and chasing after me. Some of them also tried to follow me, while some were asking what happened to the original plan. Even my BF's other college friends were wondering why their female friend wasn't in costume, but she was just silent. After a few minutes, my BF came back to our apartment looking distraught and crying. He then tells everyone that they should all go and proceeds to go to our bedroom. They wanted to ask him what happened but he shut the door before they could. His female college friend then followed him inside which really weirded them out, but after a while, they hear my BF shouting at her, telling her to fuck off. She then goes out the door on the verge of tears and leaves the apartment. They said everything happened so fast that they didn't know how to process all that has happened. Not too long after that though, they realized that I was missing and started calling and texting me, but I didn't respond to any of them. Eventually, I was unreachable, I turned off my phone, and decided they should just go home and wait for me to respond. My BF's college friends apologized profusely to what has happened and didn't mean for any of this to happen, but they basically just ignored them. They then followed their retelling of their side with videos that they've recoded that proved their accounts, along with an apology and wishing that I was doing well. After my friends told me what happened on their point of view, I felt really terrible and apologized again for ghosting them and telling them that everything that happened was none of their fault. I told them that I would make it up to them soon, but they reassured me that they accept my apology and are just happy that I'm alive and well. They also pitched to have a late birthday celebration with me this weekend, and my boyfriend and his friends aren't included this time. I of course happily agreed and thanked them for being such great friends and that I really couldn't thank them enough for being such an awesome bunch of people. The morning of the next day, my aunt knocks on my door and wakes me up, telling me that I have a visitor downstairs. She looked a bit mad, so I can already tell who it was. It was my boyfriend Alex, carrying this beautiful bouquet of flowers and my favorite chocolates with him. Even if he looked amazing, his face was the complete opposite because he looked like he was crying for days. I asked him how he found out about where I was and told me that once I turned on my phone again, an app on my phone that we both have notified him of my whereabouts. It's basically an app that allows you and your trusted friends to share your locations in real time as long as you have an internet connection and your locations is on. I was a bit frustrated that he actually came here to my aunt's house, but nevertheless, he was already there, so might as well just hear him out on what he had to say. He basically reiterated what my friends told me, but he added in some more details that my friends didn't know about. Apparently, his old college friends reconnected with him after he lost touch with them after they graduated. They found his Facebook account through some searching and wanted to ask him about his life after all these years. They were especially happy when he told them that he currently has a boyfriend because they secretly knew he was bisexual but didn't want to make assumptions or make him feel weird about it. Alex eventually tells them about me, and he mentions that him and our friends are planning a secret birthday surprise for me and they immediately wanted to be a part of it. After they were added to the group chat, they started suggesting ideas on how to make the surprise much more fun, until their female friend, we'll call her Anna, suggested that they do a prank to surprise me. Alex's college friends were immediately on board because they saw TikToks of it and they thought it was really funny, but my friends were obviously skeptical. Eventually, they agreed what the prank is going to be and that the prank wouldn't take too long. Anna volunteered to be the serial killer since it was her idea, and they all went and did their parts of the surprise so that everything would be ready when my birthday comes. The day of the surprise party comes, and everyone prepares for my arrival. When Anna and Alex went into their assigned positions for the prank, he wondered why she still wasn't in her costume and that her props was missing, but all she could reply was that she forgot. Alex offers to find the costume and props but Anna insists that there's no more time and that I was going to arrive soon. Alex at this point was extremely uncomfortable and wanted to get out of their position, but before he could do it, I've already opened the door and saw them. He admits that he fucked up by laughing a bit at my reaction because it was exactly the reaction he thought I was going to make but immediately realized what it looked like and called everyone to come out to save himself from the embarrassment and give context to what I was seeing. When he realized that didn't work, he forcefully pushed Anna away to chase after me, but he wasn't able to keep up once I got into my car. It then sunk into him that he fucked up big time and that when I drove away, that's when he remembered my trauma about cheating, which made him cry while returning to our apartment. He tells everyone to leave and retreats to our bedroom, not really knowing what to do. To his shock, Anna comes inside our room unannounced and starts comforting Alex. He repeatedly tells her to leave and that he'll be fine, but what really set him off was Anna asking him, "So, does that mean you're single now?" That's when he realized she did it on purpose. Alex then shouts at her and angrily asks her to leave, which she then complies to after looking like she just embarrassed herself. Alex is in tears at this point, and he tells me that he wishes he just didn't agree with the prank. He's cut off contact with his college friends for now, and is incredibly sorry about what happened. He then starts hugging me really tightly and says that he loves me so much and that he's scared of losing me. His words alone also made me cry because even after everything, I still love him deeply and I do believe everything he said. After a minute or two of us hugging and crying, he lets go of me and tells me that we should back together to our apartment, but that if I still need time and space, he'll gladly give it to me. I gave him a kiss and then respond to him with me asking him to help me pack my stuff. Of course, I gave my aunt the warmest of hugs and told her how much I appreciated her for helping me. She was happy things got resolved, but also jokingly threatened my boyfriend that if he did something stupid or hurtful to me again, she'll personally whisk me away to safety and away from him. My boyfriend laughed, but I think he was just hiding his nervousness. Now, I'm back in our apartment, and Alex even offered to throw away the couch that was used for the prank, but I declined since it's a pretty nice couch and everything that has happened was something no one wanted, aside Anna probably. I've already made amends with my boyfriend and we've both forgiven each other, and my friends are happy that things worked out in the end. Alex is probably now invited to the weekend party, but I've yet to ask them. Don't worry, I'm also going to get in touch with my therapist soon and book new appointments with her per the suggestion of my aunt. This has all taken a toll on me, but I'm glad to have the support of my BF, my friends, and everyone who has read my post and shared their support to me. Also, I realize that this update is probably not what most of you wanted to happen, and as much as I was close to just giving it all up, I never had a reason to in the end, and I'm glad I got to hear their sides out before making any huge decisions that I might end up regret later, and I do trust my BF and my friends since they all sounded sincere and they did have proofs to back them up. Update 2. A few days after my previous update, Alex, my now ex-BF, came up to me while sobbing and confessed that he hasn't told me the complete truth about Anna. Apparently, him and Anna were a couple back then. She was his first girlfriend and he did a lot of his firsts with her, first kiss, first date, first sex, etc. Once they graduated, Anna broke things off with him because she can't handle long-distance relationships and didn't want to be tied down yet. Anna breaking up with him caused him to go into a spiral and develop severe depression, along with self-harming tendencies, something he still goes to therapy for. It took a lot of work for him to get out of that hole and be a functioning human adult again, but things apparently didn't completely change for the better for him until he met me. As I quote, "I was the light at the end of the tunnel that he desperately wanted to get out of." But, I guess ghosts from the past have their way of coming back to haunt you. A few weeks before my birthday, Alex's college friends found his Facebook and contacted him to reconnect. Things went well for them until he was added into their group chat that had Anna in it as well. As what he said, it definitely reignited some old feelings that he had, and it also didn't help that Anna was acting like nothing bad happened between the two of them. They agreed to meet to catch up, one thing lead to another, until that one thing ended up being them having sex every day up until the birthday surprise lol. It only really hit him how much he fucked up and realized that he was doing something incredibly shitty when he saw my devastated face after seeing Anna on top of him for the prank that they supposedly planned for me. According to him, he was trying to bring back those strong feelings and emotions that he once felt back when he was with Anna, but seeing me look ruined and distraught made him realize that what he had with me was incomparable to what him and Anna had, so I guess that's what led him to confess and be all remorseful. Of course, I had to hear him apologize and cry in front of me, and I did cry too, but I couldn't bear being around him anymore after hearing all of that. I then calmly told him that I accept his apology, but that I didn't want to be with him anymore and that I'd be leaving the apartment and sort things out once we're both in clearer states of mind. He didn't like that one bit and started sobbing like crazy and even went as far as hugging me incredibly tight just so that I wouldn't go. It was a struggle, but I eventually got out of his clutches by pushing him away hard enough. I ran as fast as I could, ironic, to get to my car and immediately headed to my aunt's house. When I got there, I just sobbed into my aunt's arms and felt incredibly weak. She probably understood why I was crying that much without asking me why, so she started consoling me until I was too tired to cry and slept. Yesterday, I got a call from a friend of Alex that he's in the hospital after being found unresponsive and full of cuts on his arms. I didn't want to go because I'm obviously still hurt about everything, but Alex doesn't have any family anywhere near him and I'm the only one who knows about his medical history and details, and technically his closest family, so I had to. When I got there, his arms were full of bandages and his face looked all puffy and red. Right now, I'm outside his hospital room, waiting for his doctors to give me an update or tell me anything or something that I should do. He also hasn't woken up yet, so I'm bracing myself for when he does. Truthfully, I do still love him very much, but what he did just made it clear for me that we're not meant to be together. Update 3. It's been a week since Alex was admitted to the hospital. The doctors kept him under observation for a few days after he regained consciousness, monitoring his mental state and ensuring his wounds were healing properly. I stayed with him during visiting hours, mostly sitting in silence or making small talk about mundane things. Neither of us wanted to address the elephant in the room. When he was finally discharged, I helped him gather his belongings and drove him back to his apartment. The ride was tense, with only the radio filling the silence between us. I could feel his eyes on me occasionally, but I kept my focus on the road ahead. "You don't have to stay," he said quietly as we entered the apartment. "I know you're only here because you feel responsible." I set his bag down on the kitchen counter and turned to face him. "I'm here because I care about you, Alex. That hasn't changed." His eyes welled up with tears. "But you don't love me anymore." "It's not about not loving you," I explained, feeling my own emotions threatening to surface. "It's about trust. You broke something fundamental between us." He nodded slowly, his gaze dropping to the floor. "I know. And I hate myself for it." "Don't say that," I replied firmly. "Self-hatred isn't going to fix anything." We spent the next few hours arranging for his therapy appointments and making sure he had a support system in place. His friend Marcus agreed to check in on him daily, and I set up meal deliveries for the week. I was preparing to leave when Alex grabbed my hand. "Can I ask you something?" His voice was barely above a whisper. "Of course. Was any of it real? Us, I mean." The question hit me like a punch to the gut. Every moment was real for me, Alex. Every single one. After leaving his apartment, I drove straight to my aunt's house, where I'd been staying since the confession. She welcomed me with open arms and a cup of hot chocolate, sensing I needed comfort without interrogation. The next morning, I woke up to several missed calls from an unknown number. Curious, I called back and was surprised to hear Anna's voice on the other end. "Please don't hang up," she said quickly. "I know I'm the last person you want to talk to, But there's something you need to know. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her at a cafe downtown. My aunt was concerned when I told her, but I assured her I needed closure. Anna was already seated when I arrived, nervously fidgeting with a napkin. She looked different from what I remembered, smaller somehow, less confident. "Thank you for coming," she said as I sat down across from her. "I wouldn't blame you if you'd refused." "What do you want, Anna?" I asked, not bothering with pleasantries. She took a deep breath. "I lied to Alex about a lot of things. And he lied to you because of it." Over the next hour, Anna revealed that she had deliberately sought out Alex after discovering he was in a serious relationship. She admitted to manipulating him by fabricating stories about her life falling apart, playing on his empathy and their shared history. The reconnection with college friends was orchestrated entirely by her. She had created fake social media accounts to make it seem like the whole group was reaching out. "But why?" I asked, struggling to understand. "Why go to such lengths?" "Because he was the one who got away," she confessed, tears streaming down her face. "I broke up with him thinking I'd find someone better, and when I saw how happy he was with you, I couldn't stand it. I wanted to prove I could still have him if I wanted." I sat in stunned silence, processing her words. "The birthday prank was never supposed to be a murder scene," she continued. "That was just what I told everyone so I could get close to him. I planned to be on top of him when you walked in. I wanted you to see us together." "Did Alex know about any of this?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. "No," she shook her head. "He genuinely thought we were reconnecting as friends. I seduced him by playing on his insecurities and our history. I made him believe I regretted leaving him and that I was still in love with him." "But you had sex with him," I pointed out. "He made that choice." "Yes, he did," she agreed, "and that's on him. I'm not here to absolve him of responsibility. But what he told you about us having sex every day until your birthday, that was a lie. It happened twice, and both times he was drunk and immediately regretted it." She pushed a phone across the table. "These are the actual text messages between us. Not the ones I deleted from his phone when he was in the shower that morning. I wanted him to think things were more serious between us than they were." I hesitated before taking the phone, unsure if I wanted to see the evidence of their interaction. Eventually, curiosity won out, and I scrolled through the messages. They painted a different picture than what Alex had confessed, showing his repeated attempts to end things and Anna's manipulation to keep him engaged. "Why are you showing me this now?" I asked, sliding the phone back to her. "Because I saw what happened to him," she said quietly. "When I heard he was in the hospital, I realized how far this had gone. This was supposed to be a game, not..." She trailed off, unable to finish. "Not someone attempting suicide?" I finished for her. She winced at my bluntness but nodded. "I never wanted that. I just wanted to win." I stood up, having heard enough. "Thank you for telling me the truth, but it doesn't change what happened." "I know," she replied. "I just thought you deserved to know everything." As I walked away, she called after me, "He really does love you, you know. More than he ever loved me." I didn't respond, but her words followed me all the way back to my aunt's house. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying Anna's revelations in my mind, comparing them with what Alex had told me. Why had he exaggerated their affair? Was it guilt making him confess to more than what actually happened? Or was he trying to ensure I would leave him, punishing himself for his betrayal? The next morning, I called Marcus to check on Alex. He reported that Alex was following his treatment plan but was deeply depressed. "He's not eating much," Marcus said. "And he keeps looking at old photos of you too." I thanked him for the update and hung up, feeling a familiar ache in my chest. Despite everything, I missed Alex. I missed his laugh, his passion for obscure documentaries, the way he would absently stroke my hair while reading. After a long talk with my aunt and another session with my therapist, I decided to see Alex again. Not to reconcile, I wasn't ready for that, but to share what I'd learned from Anna and to get honest answers. When I arrived at the apartment, Alex was sitting on the balcony, staring out at nothing in particular. He looked thinner, his clothes hanging loosely on his frame. He seemed surprised to see me but quickly made space for me to join him. "Anna reached out to me," I said without preamble. His eyes widened. "What? When?" I told him about our meeting and everything she had revealed. As I spoke, I watched his expressions carefully, looking for signs of deception or surprise. "Why did you lie about how often you slept with her?" I asked when I finished. "You made it sound like a full-blown affair." He was quiet for a long moment. "Because I felt like it was," he finally said. "Even once was a complete betrayal of you and us, and I was so disgusted with myself that in my mind, it might as well have been every day. I wanted you to hate me as much as I hated myself. That's not fair to either of us," I said softly. "I deserve the truth, not what you thought would make me leave." "I know," he admitted. "I was a coward. I couldn't face the possibility that you might forgive me when I couldn't forgive myself." We talked for hours, more honestly than we had in weeks. Alex acknowledged his responsibility for the choices he made, regardless of Anna's manipulation. I expressed my hurt and anger but also admitted that learning the full context had shifted something in me. "I'm not saying I'm ready to get back together," I clarified as the sun began to set. "I need time, and you need to focus on your recovery." "I understand," he said, and I could see he meant it. I'll wait, or I'll let you go if that's what you decide, but I want you to know that meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me, and losing you has been my greatest regret. As I left that evening, I felt lighter somehow. The path forward wasn't clear yet, but for the first time since walking in on that disastrous birthday surprise, I could imagine a future where the pain wasn't all-consuming. Whether that future includes Alex remains to be seen. For now, I'm focusing on healing myself and rebuilding the parts of me that were shattered by betrayal. My aunt continues to be my rock, and my friends have been incredibly supportive, organizing weekly dinners and movie nights to keep my spirits up. Alex and I text occasionally, nothing deep, just checking in. He's been sober for 3 weeks now and is attending therapy twice a week. He's also started volunteering at an animal shelter, something he says helps him feel useful on his darkest days.